When you walk into a room, people are not responding to your clothes, your job title, or the words you haven't even spoken yet. They are responding to your energy, your presence, the invisible frequency you're broadcasting long before you open your mouth. And what most people don't realize is that this magnetism is not an accident. It's not something you're born with and stuck with forever. It's not reserved for the charismatic, the loud, and naturally confident. It is built quietly, intentionally, through habits so small they seem almost insignificant, yet powerful enough to shift your entire vibration. These habits work not because they're flashy or dramatic, but because they align your internal world with the energy of someone who draws people in without effort, someone who feels like sunlight in a crowded place, someone who speaks to the subconscious of those around them before any words are exchanged. And the first of these tiny habits begins with the way you speak to yourself before you speak to anyone else. If your internal dialogue is harsh, frantic, or scattered, people feel it, not because they hear it, but because you emit it. The human body is a transmitter. Your thoughts leak through your posture, your micro-expressions, your tone, and even your silence. That's why starting your day with a single intentional sentence, one that affirms your worth without needing permission, shifts your entire field. It's not about chanting empty phrases, it's about anchoring yourself in a truth you choose, not a fear your mind inherited. And when you practice this consistently, others sense it. They may not know why, but they feel safer around you, more open, more drawn, because you are no longer someone who needs validation on the outside to feel whole on the inside. Another tiny habit that amplifies your magnetic presence is the way you make eye contact. Not the forced, intense, performative kind, but eye contact that communicates "I see you" instead of "look at me." People are starved for recognition, for someone who listens not to respond but to understand, someone who offers presence instead of performance. When your gaze softens and your attention settles, you unlock something primal in the human brain, trust. And trust is the most irresistible form of magnetism. It dissolves defensiveness, awakens curiosity, and opens the invisible channel through which people feel connected to you even before you've revealed anything about yourself. The irony is that when you stop trying to impress people, they become naturally impressed by the calm gravitational pull of someone who is grounded, aware, and unhurried. And then there's the habit of moving through the world with a slightly slower pace than your mind wants to rush into. When you slow your gestures, when your breath deepens even slightly, when your voice carries that half second of intentionality, everything about you feels more confident. It signals that you are not reacting to life, you are responding from a place of inner authority, and people feel that. Humans are wired to follow the energy that feels safe, steady, and centered. When your presence says, "I am here, fully, and nothing is pulling me out of this moment," you become magnetic without saying a word. Even your silence becomes a kind of invitation. Your fourth tiny habit is something subtle, almost invisible. The micro-smile. Not a full grin, not a forced expression, but the soft uplift at the corner of your mouth that suggests warmth. This single expression changes the way people interpret your energy. It makes you appear approachable without losing depth, confident without becoming intimidating, kind without seeming naive. And because your brain mirrors your body, that micro-smile also changes how you feel. It signals to your nervous system that you are safe, open, and receptive. In that state, your intuition sharpens, your vibration rises, and your presence expands in a way that people feel almost subconsciously. And finally, the tiny habit of intentional gratitude for the people you encounter, gratitude not spoken but radiated. When you silently appreciate those around you, even strangers, you shift your frequency to one that communicates abundance rather than scarcity. You stop seeking energy and begin offering it, and this offering creates a field around you that people find irresistible. They don't know why they feel better in your presence. They just do. Gratitude turns your energy into a gift people want to be near, a warmth that draws them closer without any deliberate effort on your part. It turns interactions into connection, moments into resonance, and presence into influence. These habits, though small, reshape the way people respond to you because they reshape the way you respond to yourself. And when you adjust your internal frequency, the universe reorganizes the external world to match it. People feel what you feel, even when you try to hide it. They read what your nervous system is saying louder than your voice. And when your energy says, "I am grounded, I am open, I am enough, and I see you," the world leans closer. And as you continue to embody these small shifts, something remarkable begins to unfold. People don't just notice you, they feel you. They sense the quiet confidence, the emotional steadiness, the grounded awareness that doesn't need to demand attention because it naturally receives it. This is the kind of magnetism that isn't loud or theatrical. It's the kind that makes someone pause mid-thought, because your presence subtly recalibrates the atmosphere. And the truth is, This magnetic quality comes from emotional regulation more than anything else. When you learn to soothe your nervous system instead of feeding its panic, when you bring yourself back to center instead of spiraling into self-doubt, your body emits signals of safety. Safety is the rarest currency in human interaction. People cling to the ones who created, even with nothing more than their energy. When your emotions are balanced, your aura feels like a sanctuary to others, a place where they can drop their guard for a moment, breathe a little deeper, and feel a little more like themselves. This is why magnetic people often appear calm, even when their lives aren't perfect. It's not that they lack problems, it's that they refuse to vibrate at the frequency of chaos. They choose alignment over urgency, clarity over reactivity, and intention over impulse. The shift is subtle but life-changing, because when you are no longer ruled by your inner storms, you stop projecting them outward. You start carrying an energy that invites rather than repels, and that invitation is felt, not only emotionally but physically. People lean in when you talk. They mirror your posture, soften their expressions. Their breathing unconsciously slows to match yours. This is the unspoken language of connection, the quiet telepathy that occurs when your nervous system communicates with theirs. And when people feel seen, supported, and emotionally regulated around you, they cannot help but be drawn to you. But magnetism also blooms through the habit of allowing yourself to take up space, not through volume or dominance, but through presence. So many people shrink themselves without realizing it. They minimize their gestures, quiet their voice, fold their shoulders, and compress their energy. And yet the moment you choose to open your posture even slightly, lift your head, expand your chest, and allow your breath to fill your body, something shifts. You send a message to your subconscious, I belong here. When your body believes this, everyone around you does too. People trust those who trust themselves, and your body is always speaking before your words do. When you take up space with calm assurance, you project a vibration of worthiness, an internal frequency that others instinctively respond to. Another layer of becoming magnetic is the habit of speaking with emotional resonance instead of rushing to fill silence or prove a point. Magnetic people don't speak more, they speak deeper. They choose words that carry intention, clarity, and warmth. They give their sentences breath. They allow pauses to land. They are not afraid of silence, because silence is where presence amplifies. When you speak from your center instead of your insecurity, people listen differently. They feel the weight of your words, not because they're heavy, but because they're sincere. And sincerity is a frequency that cuts through noise. It makes even a simple sentence feel meaningful. It makes people remember you long after the conversation has ended. And perhaps one of the most transformative tiny habits of all is the practice of aligning your inner world before entering any social space. Just a few seconds of intentional grounding, feeling your breath, loosening your jaw, relaxing your shoulders, bringing your mind back into your body, changes everything. People often think magnetism depends on charisma, but it depends far more on coherence. When your mind, body, and energy are in sync, others feel it immediately. You become the calm in the room, the steady pulse, the intuitive presence that senses what others need without trying. This is where your manifestation power amplifies, because alignment is the birthplace of attraction. When your internal frequency is clean, clear, and confident, the universe responds, and so do people. Opportunities circulate more freely, conversations unfold more organically, connections deepen more quickly. It's not magic, it's energetic congruence. And as these tiny habits accumulate, something even more powerful emerges, your intuitive magnetism. The part of you that operates beyond logic, beyond technique, beyond conscious effort. This is when people begin to feel connected to you without knowing why, when your presence lingers in their mind even after you leave, when your energy influences a room before you say a word, because your magnetism is no longer something you do, it becomes something you are. You radiate an energy that feels grounded yet elevated, gentle yet commanding, warm yet purposeful. You become the person whose presence shifts the emotional temperature of the room, the person people look toward instinctively, the person whose energy feels like a quiet but undeniable gravity. And the most beautiful part? None of this requires perfection. It requires awareness. It requires intention. It requires nurturing the small, subtle habits that shape your energy from the inside out. Because the universe responds not to what you force, but to what you embody. And when you embody alignment, presence, calm, authenticity, and grounded confidence, the world can't help but move toward you. One person, one moment, one connection at a time. And as you deepen these habits, you begin to notice how your energy subtly reorganizes your environment. People respond differently. Conversations flow more easily. Opportunities you once had to chase begin appearing with less resistance, as if drawn by an invisible force you're finally learning to direct. This is the moment you realize that magnetism isn't about impressing anyone. It's about aligning your internal world so powerfully that your external world has no choice but to adjust. When you hold yourself with quiet certainty, when you trust your intuition without needing external confirmation, you emit a frequency that whispers instead of shouts, yet somehow speaks louder than anything else in the room. This is the energy that people remember. This is the energy that makes someone stop mid-sentence and think there is something about them. Not something dramatic, not something performed, something felt, something real. And part of embodying this magnetism is creating a habit of emotional spaciousness, allowing yourself to breathe between thoughts, to feel without reacting, to witness without absorbing. Magnetic people do not carry the weight of every passing emotion. They create space within themselves to hold sensations without being overwhelmed by them. When someone projects stress, they don't echo it. When someone is anxious, they remain centered. When someone is defensive, they stay grounded. This emotional spaciousness makes people instinctively drawn to you because it feels like being near someone who can hold the moment without collapsing into it. It feels like stability in a world full of emotional turbulence. And people seek that stability more than they ever admit. Another habit that strengthens your magnetic field is learning to regulate your energy before you speak. Even a single slow breath, a moment of grounding, a softening of your chest, shifts your tone from pressured to purposeful. When your voice carries that calm conviction, people don't just hear you, they feel the vibration behind your words. Your communication becomes clearer, smoother, more resonant. You start speaking from a place of trust rather than fear, from a place of inner authority rather than insecurity. And when your voice matches your energy, when your words reflect your grounded presence, your influence expands effortlessly. You become someone whose speech feels like clarity cutting through noise. Someone who naturally commands attention without force. Magnetism also grows from the tiny habit of showing genuine curiosity. Real, deep, present curiosity. Not the kind that waits for its turn to talk, but the kind that sinks into someone's words with full attention. When you listen with that kind of presence, people feel it in their nervous system. They feel acknowledged, valued, understood, and being understood is one of the most irresistible human experiences. Most people are not used to it. Most people speak into the world hoping someone truly hears them. When you become that kind of listener, you become unforgettable. You awaken emotional safety in others, and emotional safety is more magnetic than charm will ever be. But there's another layer, one that's often overlooked, the micro moments of self-respect that happen in the privacy of your mind. When you choose not to criticize yourself, when you choose not to shrink, when you choose to honor your own boundaries even when no one else is watching. These micro moments build an inner foundation so strong that the outside world feels it. Your posture shifts, your eyes soften but become clearer. Your energy rises not through ego but through authenticity. When you respect yourself in the quiet moments, your presence becomes bolder in the public ones. People sense when you honor yourself, they treat you accordingly. And something extraordinary happens when all these tiny habits merge. Your energy becomes congruent. Your body, mind, and intentions align. You stop sending mixed signals. You stop leaking insecurity. You stop broadcasting doubt. Instead, you emanate coherence. And coherence is profoundly attractive. In nature, everything is drawn to coherence. Sound waves, particles, human hearts, human minds. When your energy is coherent, you become easier to trust, easier to follow, easier to connect with. People gravitate toward you because you feel like harmony in a world full of noise. They feel regulated around you. They feel lighter around you. They feel more like themselves around you. And when someone consistently feels better in your presence than outside it, magnetism becomes inevitable. At this point, magnetism is no longer something you practice. It becomes a natural expression of your inner alignment. Your presence carries a quiet radiance. Your silence speaks. Your energy warms the space around you, and people respond with ease, openness, and an instinctive desire to stay connected. Because you're no longer trying to attract. You are simply allowing yourself to become the kind of person who attracts naturally. And the universe responds to that transformation in ways that feel almost surreal. Synchronicities increase, relationships deepen, opportunities appear, and your path feels less forced and more guided. This is the essence of magnetic living, not forcing, not chasing, not performing, just aligning so deeply with your authentic energy that everything meant for you finds its way to you without strain. And every tiny habit you've cultivated becomes part of this gravitational field you carry, moment by moment, breath by breath. And as you continue walking this path of alignment, you begin to feel how your presence subtly shapes the emotional tone of every room you enter. People sense the steadiness beneath your words, the clarity in your gaze, the grounded rhythm of your breath. They feel that you are not rushing toward approval, not chasing validation, not bending yourself into shapes that betray your own soul. You stand in your energy the way a tree stands in the earth, rooted, open, quietly powerful. And this is where a deeper layer of magnetism emerges. The habit of holding your frequency even when others try to pull you into theirs. Most people absorb the energy around them without realizing it, but magnetic people do the opposite. They maintain their internal coherence so strongly that others unconsciously rise to match it. When someone brings chaos, you bring calm. When someone brings insecurity, you bring steady warmth. When someone brings hurry, you slow the moment down. This is telepathic in the sense that it lives in the unspoken exchange, in the energetic conversation happening beneath the words. People may not understand why they feel regulated around you, but they do. And that feeling becomes a gravitational pull. There is also profound power in the habit of embodying soft confidence, the kind that doesn't demand attention but naturally receives it. This is not the confidence of raised voices or dominating conversations. It's the confidence that lives in relaxed shoulders, in unhurried speech, in the gentle certainty that you are enough before you've proven anything. Soft confidence is irresistible because it signals inner abundance. When you carry an energy that says, I already have what I need, people lean closer, wanting to understand how you've cultivated that kind of inner peace. It makes your presence soothing, like warmth on a cold morning. And the more you practice these tiny habits, the more this soft confidence becomes second nature. You begin moving through the world with an ease that cannot be faked, an authenticity that cannot be manufactured, a quiet radiance that cannot be dimmed. Perhaps one of the most magnetic habits of all is the choice to allow yourself to feel joy in micro moments, tiny sparks of gratitude, humor, appreciation, or beauty. This internal light spills outward. It shows up in your laughter, your eyes, your tone. People are drawn to those who can access joy without needing perfect circumstances. It signals resilience. It signals emotional richness. It signals that your spirit has depth and buoyancy. And this joy doesn't need to be loud. Often, the subtlest expressions of gratitude, the soft smile you hold when you notice something beautiful, the way your face brightens for a second when someone shares something meaningful, these tiny flashes make people feel connected to you on a deeper level. They feel the radiance inside you and instinctively want to be part of that emotional warmth. Another essential habit is the willingness to express authenticity without over-explaining it. Magnetic people do not justify their boundaries or apologize for their truth. They don't twist themselves into pleasing shapes. They know that not everyone will understand them, and they are at peace with that. When you show the world who you are without diluting yourself, you emit a frequency that attracts those who resonate with your authenticity. And when you stop trying to manage people's perceptions, you free your energy from the tension of performance. That freedom becomes part of your magnetism. People may not articulate it, but they feel drawn to someone who is deeply themselves, unapologetically but gently. Someone who doesn't chase belonging because they belong to themselves. This kind of authenticity creates a sense of emotional transparency. Your energy feels clean, open, trustworthy. People don't sense hidden agendas or masks. They relax around you. They speak more freely. They reveal more of their true selves, because your presence makes authenticity feel safe. And when people feel safe being themselves around you, they attach to you in ways that are both emotional and intuitive. They remember you. They seek you out. They want to be in your orbit because your energy awakens something dormant within them, the desire to be fully present and fully seen. Another subtle but powerful habit is moving through the world with a sense of inner direction even when you don't have all the answers. Your movements, your decisions, your way of holding yourself convey that you are in conversation with your own intuition. People feel that. It makes your energy compelling. It makes you seem guided, intentional, and aligned. When you trust your internal compass, others instinctively trust you too. That trust is a cornerstone of magnetism. It creates resonance, admiration, and curiosity. People want to know what you know, feel what you feel, understand the source of your calm clarity. And within all of this, the universe responds to your alignment in ways that feel almost synchronistic. You begin attracting people whose energies complement yours, situations that feel serendipitous, opportunities that open as if on cue. This is the natural consequence of coherence. When your inner world stops contradicting itself, the outer world stops contradicting your desires. You become a clean signal in a world of static, and reality mirrors the clarity you cultivate within. With each tiny habit, your magnetism grows not because you're trying to pull people toward you, but because you're no longer pushing them away with self-doubt, emotional noise, or energetic imbalance. You're simply allowing your true frequency to broadcast unobstructed. And that frequency is powerful. It is felt. It is remembered. It is the quiet gravity that draws the right people, the right moments, and the right opportunities into your life with an ease that feels almost otherworldly. This is the essence of becoming magnetic. And unfolding, and aligning, and becoming, and every breath, every intention, every tiny habit shapes the field around you until your presence speaks louder than your words ever could.